What's up, guys? Welcome back to Wrenching Wrecked. Today is the day, actually. I'm going to pull the compressor in at some point and re-RTV that. I don't think I let it set up long enough, so got some fresh RTV that isn't old. I'm going to let that pull that fitting, drain the oil out of whatever drips out after running it for 3, 4, 5 hours yesterday. Probably a lot in there. So that'll leak out, but we are not worried about the compressor bits. We are playing Shovelhead today. So I am finalizing all the bits for this. I just ran out, picked up some Loctite RTV caps and things that we need to get this mounted back on the bike. I don't know how far we're actually gonna get today, but as of right now, I have the chain tensioner sitting here from the old one. I was gonna use the new one, but I left that at the house. So we're swapping this over. Got the hardware here. We're gonna red Loctite these, torque these down. Well, I actually have to run home and grab the impact driver anyway, but that will not stop us from moving forward. We can either do this now or we can do that once it's in on the bike too. Doesn't really matter all that much. So I got time to figure out what we're gonna do. Maybe we'll use the new stuff for that. Bearings are in. I got 1/8 inch MPT fitting on there. That used to be a vent. It used to be this one. I bought 2, and apparently only one of them came back from the store with me. So I went out to grab specifically 1/8 inch plug fittings because we're gonna cap all of this off. We are not gonna be running the oil through the primary setup. Then I drained the oil on this before I left, so most of the trans should be dry enough, and we have access to the 2 studs that pulled out. So we'll double jam nut, separate these studs, clean those off really well, and re-Loctite those in place. Then we're ready to start putting this all back together. I have the clutch basket, I have the primary chain, which maybe I should get soaking in some oil. We'll see on that. I'm waiting on a couple parts. I got the O'Reilly's dropping off some MPT fittings for me since one of mine must have fallen out of the cart when I was walking through the store, which is really a bummer because I know for a fact I grabbed 2. But it is what it is. Let me figure out what we're doing on there, and then we'll pretty much just, well, really I'm waiting on parts. I'm waiting on parts and I'm waiting on my impact, manual impact to install these. But this will get replaced with another block off. Then we got some grease on the seals and grease on the O-ring. The trans to motor alignment, since it was a closed primary, is actually pretty much dead nuts where it sits right now. I'll throw you guys up here real quick, show you. While I'm waiting, here's our primary. I know that the chain's on, but it's loose. It's not, the master link's not in there yet, but if we come back, I know we only have 2 studs in the trans right now, but this goes on here, right onto the main shaft, just like that. And we are flush mounted up here for the O-ring. So we'll put the O-ring in and grease it. Make sure you loosen up your trans. If it wasn't already assembled and torqued down, like this one, make sure you loosen up that trans. I would recommend taking the drive chain off. You do not want to wrestle this on or try and tighten these fittings on the front down to align that on the motor. I usually line it up on the trans and then shift the trans on the plate forward back till this squares up naturally. If you try tightening it down off of this bolt, you will crack this off. Ask me how I learned that. Yeah, I did that on my Superglide back in the day where it was like going on and I thought it just needed to tight snug up on that O-ring. Very easy to crack these, so be careful on the install. But, oh, I need the safety wire too. I definitely need to take a trip home, but I got the parts guy on his way here. I don't know if they've been to this spot yet, so we're kind of stuck waiting on parts, and then I gotta run out and waste more time and then come back, and eventually, hopefully, we can start bolting this stuff together. In the meantime, while I'm waiting, just so I'm not bumming around, I'll do 2 3/8 nuts, jam nutted on the other side of this, and then pop these fine thread sections off. The coarse thread goes into the case. The fine thread is what I need to get off of here. I've done it a ton of times in other videos, but take your 2 3/8 nuts, thread those on here, and then we'll be able to put this in the vise and pop these outers off. here's what we're doing, and this actually works out because I will need both of those fine thread nuts. We got the fine thread portion nut chucked up in the vise, put a wrench here, impacted the top one into this, so these are locked, and now I can turn this and our nut comes free. So this will separate our stud, and we'll have to unjam nut these. But I need both of these fine thread bits. So I'll get the stud out first, like that. Save my fine thread hardware. We'll do the same thing here. In the vise. Jam those two together. Work the stud free. Lots of Loctite on there, that's why those came out. We're going to be doing the same thing, but the Loctite's going to be going into the case instead. There's that. So we're going to need those fine threads now. We're going to do the same thing here, but I'm going to cue this one up to go back in the case. So while these studs are in here, I'll use the vise to my advantage. I'll jam two of these together on here. Like that. Now, we need to separate this one. So wrench on the bottom, impact on the top, just like that. There we have it. Now we have one stud ready to go back in the case. We're going to brake clean the crap out of this first and then put that in. We'll do one together while I'm waiting on parts, and then you guys can figure out how to do the second one because it's the exact same thing. And grab some brake clean. Now that we have our stud cleaned up, we are going to take some red Loctite here because I want these to stay in the said case. Should have brought my wrenches over. Red Loctite will go here first. I want to clean this front hole. This one is an oil. This one will flow oil through it, so be cautious of that. Make sure that one's clean. Grab my wrenches. Then lock that in. Try not to bang up the main shaft here. It's about where I want it. Separate your outer. And just like that, you got a stud. Put back in place with Loctite, so that should be just fine now. About the same length as the other one, so we are good there. We go back to the bench, jam nut these two back together, then we'll come back, get this last one in, spray some brake clean in here again, try and clear that out. You don't want a bunch of oil in there. So, brake clean, compressed air. The trans is drained. This is the drain plug from the bottom center. Didn't film that, it's right in the middle of the transmission. It's hard to see underneath there, so that's where we're at. We'll be back when the studs are in. Still waiting on parts. But that'll tide us over for now. Hopefully that showed up on camera. Whoops. Basically, this hose fitting on the primary, since we are going to do a block off there, I can't get to that once it's installed. So I need all of that done before we actually tighten the inner primary up. And then once the inner primary's in, it's pretty much just individual assembly, backwards from the first video on this bike. So Should go pretty quick. Ooh, I should check for oil too. Perpetual waiting on parts and trying to figure out what else I can keep putting together. So while we're waiting, as we come up to the engine, this lip along the outside of your primary, a lot of the times those will get cracked on the cases. If you're running a belt drive, they really don't matter, but I'm gonna grease up this O-ring while we're waiting. You can also use RTV on here, some people do. I don't really want to because I don't know what my timeline is working on this. But O-rings, you wanna have them lubed up. So a little bit of grease on here. It'll help this kind of stay in place too. It's gonna go around the outside ring. There we go. Just like that. So now we're pretty much ready. Clean your hands up again. And then sit twiddling your thumbs, waiting on the parts guy. Can't believe that fell out of the cart. Could be putting this together right now. I guess we'll pop the drain plug into. It's not necessarily needed, but I am gonna put some Loctite on there. Or not Loctite, sorry, silicone on the threads of this. Just trying to like adding in as much leak protection as possible. Just for good measure. Where's my, not the actual factory drain plug. There we go. Nor the correct washer, but that's what I got, so that will work. And now everything is good. Got the starter solenoid in, bearings in, seals are in, threads are chased. Just 1/8 inch fitting on this guy. And we're ready to reassemble. We can do the chain tensioner bits once it's in the bike. The only other thing we gotta do is grease up these seals, which I'll do preemptively while we're waiting. For the shifter shaft, because we are swapping that one out. And we'll get some in there on the bushing. Extra grease here. Sure that'll go on nice and smooth for the main shaft. Oh, might as well cut this hose off too. We're gonna cap that one. I'll grab a knife here, maybe some pliers. Man, brand new tripod, super stiff. And then I sandblasted with that on yesterday, so very difficult to get that all the way open. Or mention how much I hate these types of clips. Put a new cap on this guy. It's just the cross through. So basically when you run the oil lines, the oil line that is attached to this comes from the oil pump. This is the one that comes down and lubes your chain if you are running a drip setup. So it just kind of drips the oil from the oil pump through there. Keeps that primary chain lubricated, but we're gonna fill this and do a splash fill. So as the chain's spinning around, it'll slosh around in there. Should be okay. Well, rather than keep waiting, fired the tractor up because we got the hitch on here. I'll hitch the compressor up. I'm not even gonna pull it in. I'm just gonna pull it onto the asphalt or the concrete. Use the board, jump underneath there, take out the 3/4 screws, let that drain. So I can at least get that RTV'd, and then that can stay outside overnight. It doesn't have to sit in here. So let's do tractor things. This is great. Actually, leave that hooked up on the 3-point and it gives me a lot more room to work underneath there, huh? So I'll pop 2 bolts out of here, get this draining, and hopefully I can get this done. And parts will be here. So many things I want to be doing. And here we are. Grab a drip tray. I don't know how much is actually going to come out of here, but we sure will find out. Oh, I forgot I need a wrench. Damn it. Not enough room for a socket underneath there. I knew that too. Okay. So here is where our leak is. Quarter turn at a time. God, this thing got dirty yesterday. A little bit warmer and I'll be able to fire up the pressure washer. There we go. We'll catch some of it, right? This bolt hits the flange, and now, since it's RTV, it wants to stay stuck. Come on. There we go. Huh. I actually caught most of it. Oh. All right, I'll let that drain, and then I gotta go in and clean all that up, or I'll hit it with a wire wheel, and then RTV the crap out of it and slug it back together. Parts finally showed up, so good timing. Man, brake fluid, .5, $16? A little pricey. Stupid .5 things, but we got our 1/8" fitting. So let's at least get this done. Maybe we'll get the primary mounted, and then I'll run home and go from there. I'm using silicone on all of these. You could probably use thread sealer, but whatever. Should still work just fine. On the MPT stuff, I don't even know if you need sealer. I feel better about it. Don't know when that died, but we got the plug in. It's ugly and covered in RTV on the backside. But on the inside, we are good to go. So this is all done. We can go over and throw this on the bike now. Got the drain plug in. We need shifter shaft. Now let's go to the bike. Screw it. Hopefully this doesn't die on me. Oh, these stupid GoPro batteries. It said you had 20% until you hit record, and then it doesn't have any percentage left anymore. All right, where do we leave off? Shifter shaft. So here's the new shifter shaft we're going to be using to replace the old one. And we'll throw a little bit of grease on here too, even though it's already coated on the seal. Which shouldn't matter all that much, but why not? A little more grease never hurt anybody. So now, we will take our shifter shaft and drop this guy through our brand new seal. Like so. Make sure that stays going up. Let me double check. We got the drain plug, we got the tubes, we got everything else, greased the seals. Now we can drop this guy on for real. So find the studs. Go transmission side first. Just like that. I'll just set this onto the shifter. We're not going to snap ring that. I'm going to have to find a snap ring for that, actually. But we're good on the trans. We are good on the front over the gasket. That all feels pretty good. So we'll put our washers on here. I am going to put a drop of Loctite on these as well. And then I'm going to tighten down these first, and then we'll come up to the front case. But this feels pretty good to me. sure everything feels good here. I don't want any binding. I don't want any gaps. There we go. Primary is bolted onto the transmission now. I wonder if I should run these wires real quick. No, we can do that after. We will come through and actually tighten that down with an actual wrench. What we're going to do here is put our engine bolts in. I will take these back out again. We're going to do this by hand. Man, I got covered in grease. I don't want to go impacting these. Yeah, let's just get them down to the bottom. It's not the right socket. So I didn't actually torque any of these. Just snugged it up, but as soon as I put a little bit of pressure, that sealed right up on top of the O-ring, just like I thought it would. I test fit this a ton of times beforehand before I made any executive decisions on here. So actually, now that I feel good about these, we have 4 bolts. They're 1/2-inch heads. We have 2 on the front, 2 on the back, or middle of the primary, I guess. What you gotta watch out for, same bolts, but some of them have the grooves in there. That's where your safety wire is gonna go. I'm gonna do blue on the fronts, and I am gonna do a drop of red on the back with the safety wire ones. I really don't wanna take any chances of any bolts on the inside of the primary coming out. I might be a little more cautious about that, but I did have one of the tensioner bolts on my ironhead way back in the day, my purple ironhead chopper. One of the tensioner bolts on the shoe backed out, and I exploded the whole left side of my engine. So I get very, very nervous about these internal parts getting loose on you. One bolt or a nut backs out and lands in that primary chain while it's moving and wedges in the sprockets, and goodbye left side case and bits. Just going 45 miles an hour down the road, and all of a sudden my leg is soaked. I just heard a real quick. It wasn't even a violent noise, but my whole left leg is covered in oil as chunks of motor are banging down the road. It was not fun, let me tell you. Let me grab an extension here. It's the first Harley motor I ever had to rebuild, out of necessity. All right, now we'll do final torque on all of these, and then I'll head back home, grab the rest of the stuff I need, and we're in pretty good shape. I should have gone in the next pattern here. We'll do that now. If you want book spec, look it up, I don't know. Oh, shh. Oh, shh. Oh. Can't believe I just did that. Remember what I just said? Son of a bitch. Son of a bitch. Fun. Don't do that. That's my dumbass, huh? Okay, new plan. Now I get to extract this bolt. Fun. Okay, bolts are all off. Had the camera off for that because there was a lot of curse words that YouTube doesn't like. So, man, I really don't think I was laying into that hard either. Not good. But the joys of working on things when nothing actually works the way it's supposed to. Let's see how big of a mess we made for ourselves. Oh, actually, this isn't too bad. We got enough meat sticking out of here. I don't know if I'm going to be able to spin that out. And we just put Loctite on there, didn't we? Fun. I'm going to try that with a vice grip, but there is a very good chance that we are going to be busting the welder out here. I do have enough meat left on there to weld a bolt to that, and it should back right out. So, live and learn. When I say check the torque spec immediately before shearing off one of the most critical bits, that's what happens. So hopefully I got another bolt somewhere for that. God, that was dumb. I cannot believe, especially the timing of that. You can't make that up, right? Could not have been more made up. So I got some really cheap, crappy vice grips, fresh from the hardware store. I don't think there's enough meat for that. But we did just put this thing on, so we'll give it a shot. Oh. Work quickly. That is about as lucky as it gets. So that I will take full responsibility for. But I really don't think I put that much torque on that. Enough to snap it, I guess, but shit. Didn't look like I was hulking on it, did it? We'll find out in post. Got really lucky. Left enough meat and came out easy with pliers. Actually, that doesn't even look that good. Okay, new plan. Got to figure something out. I might have to find some sort of 5/16 bolt. I might be taking a trip to the indie shop down the road and see if they got any of these guys lying around. So, damn it. Fun, right? All right, I'm going to take a quick break, run some errands, try and figure out what we need to do, and then come back and get this thing together without breaking anything. Fingers crossed. Okay, well, today was supposed to be a nice, fun, easy day, and then that happened. Took a little bit of driving around. I went over to the indie shop down the road. He did not have one of the safety wire bolts. He did have the newer 5-speed style ones, which would work if I drilled a small hole in the primary for the tongue to drop in and then folds over. Called the other indie shop, hoping to get the safety wire ones. Didn't have those either. And then I remembered that every time I order parts, I overstock on stuff. So I went back to the house because I had to get impact driver for the screws for the primary chain adjuster. I got these. So we're not going to be going back to the safety wire approach, but I'll show you what these are. The inner primary lock tabs. I forgot I had them. I thought I might have, but these will work just fine. And I grabbed new hardware and new bolts. So now we get to try this all over again and hopefully not break anything. Because if we do, I might just go drown myself in the lake. Just kidding. But yeah, I was feeling really good about this until that snapped, and now I'm kind of, it's getting later. And I don't know how much free time I actually have left. My goal was to have this bike put back together today. Something like that takes quite a bit of time away from your working day. But it is what it is. Things happen. It's how it goes. Can't win all of them, and sometimes you mess up. Sometimes more frequently than others, but there we go. Let's try this again with our new bolts. So instead of, I know, we are going to, man, where are all my tools now? We are going to mount the primary on the trans first, but while this is sitting here, I might as well just get these loose set just so it stays kind of in position. And here's the bottom. Slim pickings, but luckily I always order extra stuff. I remember I needed those, I think probably on my Shovelhead 2 years ago. So I bought a kit for those. And then I'm waiting on a kid at the shop to run over some roll lock discs for me so we can finish up the compressor, because it's way later than I want it to be in the day. But we're here for Shovelhead, not compressor things. That was just filler while I was waiting on parts and breaking things. So we'll get these back on here. Been riding an emotional roller coaster today, I feel like. All I wanted to do all week was one day of getting this bike put back together. And lo and behold, I tried, I break things, get delayed, get really frustrated, say lots of bad words off camera, and then come back and now we are able to try and get this all done again. Just a lot of running around. The assembly part's not too bad, but when things go wrong, it gets frustrating. And I don't know how long I actually have. Daddy's at home making dinner because it is my birthday today. I'm not a big birthday guy, so it's not that big of a deal, but she's been slaving away, I think, most of the day. All right, so 9/16 studs here, so I'm a little less concerned on these. Then we have our inner primary lock tab deal, which basically runs like this if you haven't used them. These go in and then you pound the tabs over. No safety wire required, which is actually kind of nice. It's a little bit faster. I don't know, some people enjoy working with safety wire things. To me, I don't mind them, but this is way quicker. Just bending a tab over. All right. Let's try this again. Just making sure that's seated on there like it's supposed to. It looked dark, but it's just the grime on the case. So, primary ratchet. Should I switch to a 1/4 inch? I didn't realize I was that strong last time. Oh my God. Brain's still scrambled, I apologize. All right, next pattern for final torque. There we go. Now, we can bend our lock tabs over, and that should work just fine. Stop the bolts from moving. Let me find a pick or a screwdriver or something that I can wedge in here. do I have? Might need something longer. Or a real hammer. One of the two. Let me grab something better. Okay, smaller screwdriver. Just trying to get behind the tab and get it bent up. I'm thinking today now, since I've wasted most of the day driving in circles to get nowhere, we will most likely end up trying to get the primary set up on, it's bolted in, but we'll get the chain tensioner set up, and unfortunately that'll probably be the end of it for today. And then I guess maybe, if I'm lucky, I can come out here and try again tomorrow. For a bit, a couple hours at least. Right. I'm getting frustrated. Let me grab a better tool or some needle nose and pinch these things over. Pair of pliers definitely worked better. There we go. As long as you can get that first corner bent. Ooh. Wow, that was foolish. Hit my knee on the detent for the, or the drop for the lift. Could have gotten way worse. This has a little bit flatter of a edge than the safety wire needle nose. So, there we go. Lock tabs are on and bent. So we are good. What a pain. Such a wasted bit of energy on that. So we are torqued down, everything is good. On the case, bolted in, done. Now, let's put this back up in the air. Just lucky I had those. I would have been really upset if I couldn't get farther than this today. So now that the primary is back on, we have our new shifter installed. That'll be just fine. Oh, I forgot the circlips. Okay, well, screw it. We'll put the, I forgot the, never mind. All right, we'll get the chain tensioner bits in right now, and that's gonna be about it, because I need to get the compressor dealt with before it starts getting dark. So on the primary, we have the adjuster, we have our retainer, and we have these guys. Two screws, Phillips head, which, come on, putting some Loctite on these right now. Then we'll grab the manual impact hammer and snug these guys down. So this is kind of shielded in here. Put your slide adjuster in first. This goes up and down. Should be free on the back side, and then when you put the bolt in, it basically pinches it to this adjusted bracket when we get around to putting in our actual chain tensioner, which I think I also left at the house and totally forgot about in my frustrations. Okay. Grab a big screwdriver here. Make sure that guy can keep moving. Go as tight as I can on the screwdriver, and then we'll grab an impact and a hammer. If you don't have one of these, this is the best tool you can buy from Harbor Freight. I think they're like 10 bucks or something. And I get new bits with them every time. All right. So those are snug down with Loctite. So we should be good on that front. And that's pretty much it. I mean, we got a ton more work to do. I still got to figure out, cue the Woodruff key on the top side here. And then it's a matter of whether or not I want to do primary or starter bits. That's going to be kind of a pain, and I really don't feel like doing that right now. So the transmission is now drained. Last little bit. We got the lock tabs back in on here. Transmission's drained. Ready for new fluids. We'll give this one quick cleaning before we do final assembly. And that's it. Inner primary is now installed. Do not do what I did and over hulk down one of your safety wire ones, because then it turns into a giant pain in the ass. So I apologize, but I don't at the same time. Working on old stuff, it happens. Old bolts, old hardware. I genuinely am replaying that in my head. I don't think I overly hulk tightened that down enough to shear that bolt head off, but it did. Luckily, left enough nub to grab it with pliers and ease that out. I will be jamming on this the next handful of days, so videos should be coming a little bit quicker once I get through on editing on this, because I want this thing back together and running. And then we got to take a look at this Sportster. I'm running out of time on this. I know it's been here for winter storage, but this needs a hard once over. Master cylinder is bone dry because he's missing a screw there. That evaporated. Brake light isn't working, and fuel-wise, I haven't even tried starting this yet. So get the Shovelhead done, then we'll try and start that. That's what's coming through next. And then once those are done, I will have a little bit more time to focus on this, but I will also let you guys know right now, Jake over at the shop is going to be leaving us pretty quick here, doing some other stuff, which is fine. Wish him the best. But now I'm short my daytime blast guy at the shop, so I will most likely be having to pick up that slack. I'm excited to make a little bit more money, but it means a lot less fun time for a little bit. So that's where I'm gonna leave you guys for now. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, all those other fun things. We're back on bike stuff, full speed ahead. Catch you on the next one.